Hey, good morning, guys. I am just getting on here because I had a few friends who were struggling with our work, part of our assignment that we were working on Tuesday. So I wanted to make sure to answer some of those questions you might still have. Let me go Teams. I'll check out block 1. You guys should know we're already working on the salmon life cycle, and we should be when you open it up, it'll look something like this. It says Salmon Life Cycle. There's a video right here that explains slides 1 and 2. What I'm going to be talking about is slides 3 and 4. So right here, there's a video for that if you guys want more explanation. And then this is the actual part you work on. So I'm going to open that, and I'm just going to open it online so I don't have to reshare it a couple times. Sorry about that. There were a lot of questions, and I talk about them in the other video that we answered. I want to say, so there's 7 questions, and question 4, question 5, question 6 are all just from prior knowledge, things that you already know. But 1, 2, 3, and 7, we needed Google Maps to be able to answer. So it says, what is the name of a river or stream near your school that has salmon? To which ocean do the salmon migrate? What are some routes they might take from the stream or river to the ocean? And then 7 was use Google Maps to estimate the number of miles salmon might travel from the river to the ocean. So I'm going to try to do it as quick as I can because I know you guys don't want to sit and watch a video all day, but if I go back and show you where it says Google Maps, Fulbright Park, Union Gap, Washington, if you click on the 3 dots, open that online, it will take you right to the park right down the street from us. The reason it is on Fulbright Park is because in kindergarten, I'm not sure if you were with me or not, we went from the school on a field trip, and we shared, oops, I got to reshare this, so sorry. We released the salmon together. So if you were wondering, a river or stream nearby that has salmon, it should have salmon if some of them survived, and we've done it multiple years, so they should be there. This is the name of the stream where they'll be. The only stinky thing is it gets smaller as I scroll in a little more. But that stream is actually called Atanum Creek. So I'm going to stop sharing that. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of flip-flopping back and forth. So in the assignment, where are you, assignment? In the Salmon Life Cycle assignment, it is going to, I have to reshare it again. Oh, too many flipping and flopping. Okay, so back to here. I know the name of a river or stream near my school that has salmon. I know it's in Fulbright Park, but it's called Atanum Creek. And so you guys are welcome to copy that if you want. To which ocean do our salmon migrate? I know the salmon are Pacific salmon, so I would say Pacific Ocean. There are salmon in the Atlantic Ocean as well, but ours go to the Pacific Ocean. If I wasn't sure about that, we're going to find out here in a minute. Number 3, what are some routes they might take from the stream or river to the ocean? So I'm going to kind of put a couple steps together so that our video isn't so crazy long, but I'll reshare my map. And then I'm going to look like I'm asking Google Maps. This is what's great about Google Maps. I'm going to ask them for directions. And I know we started out in Fulbright Park. That's where we released our salmon. It doesn't let me follow the streams and plot them because if you guys notice, the streams are pretty long. It's called Atanum Creek because it starts up in Atanum. The Yakima River, although it does say Yakima, sorry, I'm zooming out, it starts way up here and then comes down. This is the Yakima River. So if you scroll in, if we're trying to plot a route that our salmon are going on, the Atanum Creek flows north to south, and if you see this little stream, it comes down and it joins the Yakima River. So I'm going to follow that, and if you see the Yakima River, so crazy windy, and it goes and it loops. The salmon have to follow that, hopefully not getting lost along the way, but they're looping around. I'm kind of following the highway as we go because the Yakima River is parallel to the highway. Sometimes they crisscross, but for the most part, it goes along this little yellow highway. So if you see Zilla is on here, we have Let's see what other towns are along here. Banbell, so that means we're close to Granger, Outlook. Oops, let me zoom out a little. I'm so sorry. Hopefully I'm not making you dizzy. Sunnyside. Let's type that in. So just so we have another destination, I'm going to put Sunnyside, Washington, because if you can see the river still going along there. And I'm going to zoom out a little. I'm going to keep following that Yakima River. It goes Benton City. It's going up. If you can see, it still says Yakima River. Looping around. And it comes down. Oh, look at this. And it joins up with another river. I'm not sure if you can read that, but it says the Columbia River. So we have, actually, if you zoom in, it looks really cool. Right about here. Yakima River's going this way, Columbia River's that way, and it's in the same little area. Pretty cool. So the Yakima River feeds right into that Columbia River. So if I zoom out, I'm like, okay, what towns am I nearby? We have Richland, Pasco, and Kennewick. Pick one. I'm going to add Pasco. It's easier to write. So P-A-S, and then it brings up Pasco, Washington. And what I'm doing as far as directions is I'm adding where it says add destination. I'm trying to get it to follow along the Yakima River from Fulbright Park and all the way to the ocean. So we're going to keep trekking along. We are now part of the Columbia River, or our salmon are, I should say. So now we can follow the Columbia River. If you see the Snake River, it feeds right into that as well. And just follow the Columbia. See, Lake Wallula is right there, but it's still part of the Columbia. I'll just name some towns to you. We got Plymouth, Longview. It looks like we're right here. That dotted line is Washington, Oregon, the little divide between the states. So I'm following the Columbia. Let's see, Sundale, Rufus, Maryhill. Oh, that's like the Maryhill Museum if you've been there. We have Miller Island, Chenoweth, the Dalles. That's on our Oregon Trail game. Underwood, Hood River, Home Valley, North Bonneville, Troutdale, Vancouver. Ooh, okay, that's a common one we know. Vancouver. I'm going to add that one. Vancouver. And if you look BC, Canada, not that. We're going to go Vancouver, Washington. So what I'm trying to do, again, is get this to show as much of the river and the path that they follow. That way I can get an estimation of miles. But if you do notice, okay, over here, the river pops out a little more this way, and obviously the river's more windy than the actual roads. I'm trying to get an estimate of how many miles our salmon would have to travel. So here we are in Vancouver. I'm going to add one last destination. I'm going to put Ilwaco because I can see that right here. It's at the edge of Washington State, and I think that's important because that's when they are actually at the ocean. So boom, Fulbright Park, Sunnyside, Pasco, looping around down here to Vancouver, Ilwaco. And one thing I want to show you, see how the Columbia River, this is all fresh water, feeds right into this gap between Washington and Oregon. If you zoom out, sorry, hope I don't make you dizzy. You can see it says North Pacific Ocean. The label's way over here for some reason. So what you have is that fresh water feeding right in to the ocean, and the ocean waves pushing back in. So you can probably imagine right here is going to be an estuary, which is that mixture of salt and fresh water. So when our little salmon swim all that way, they hang out here for quite some time to try to acclimate themselves or get used to that salt water before they head into the ocean. So just to get from Fulbright to the ocean, we can estimate, if you look right down here, it would take us about 6 hours, 59 minutes, so 7 hours to drive in a car. But it's about 408 miles just on the way there. And remember, they're little fish. They don't have a car. They have a big windy road, so there's probably a lot more miles to it. But yeah, 408 minimum. So I could say down here, it says use Google Maps to estimate the number of miles salmon might travel from the river to the ocean. So I can say they may travel at least 408 miles from the park to the ocean. And guys, you can word it however you want. You do not have to copy exactly what I've written. What was I going to say? Oh, and then up here, we skipped number 3. Remember, 4, 5, and 6 didn't require the map. And you guys are welcome to calculate this however you want. If you wanted to put different points, like around Pasco or around Oregon, or whatever you prefer. You want it to be more accurate, you just play with it to your heart's content. What are some routes they might take from the stream or river to the ocean? So if I double check, oopsie daisies, I forgot to share the right screen with you, so you didn't get to see what I wrote. So remember 4, 5, 6, like I was saying, we did on the other video. We just talked about Atanum Creek being where we released. Sorry, that's my alarm. And then it goes to the Pacific Ocean. We actually were able to double check that while we made our little route. We can say they may travel at least 408 miles from the park to the ocean. And then it says, what are some routes they might take from the stream or river to the ocean? So we could say they start in Atanum Creek. And I already know that because that's where we said they start. And we know they're going to end up in the Pacific Ocean Creek. But there's a couple steps along the way. Remember where Atanum Creek met with another river. Let's see here. If I scooch back in. So when I go from Fulbright, we had Atanum Creek, and it fed right into the Yakima River. So I'm going to go back to my assignment right here. So I know they start in Atanum Creek, which merges with the Yakima River, period. They follow the river until they reach another river. Let's double check. What river do they go? Yakima River. Remember that Yakima River was like a really, 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 really long one. Super long, but then it gets to an even bigger river. Do you remember right here? So we have Yakima River, and it comes over to the Columbia River, and then we follow that to the ocean, basically. So let me go back. Sorry, I know it takes a lot of flipping back and forth. So they follow the river until they reach the Columbia River, and then they follow that Columbia River. We know they have one last stop. Remember, when they're following the Columbia, I got to zoom out or it will take too long. So Columbia, they followed it, and it didn't merge with anything else until, oops, I didn't mean to do that, until they reached the ocean. So I'm going to reshare my screen, which eventually leads them to the ocean. So you don't have to follow this exactly. If you guys want to find a different route, you're welcome to do that. But if you just needed help with it, my answer says they start in Atanum Creek, which merges with the Yakima River. They follow the river until they reach the Columbia River, which eventually leads them to the, oops, I'm going to say Pacific Ocean. So again, you don't have to word it exactly like me, but I just wanted to make sure to help you guys out so you weren't struggling with the map part of it. So if you need more time with this, you're welcome to pause the video right now and write some of it down. If you want to do your own, you are 100% welcome to calculate different ones. But didn't want to leave you hanging, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.